Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Daily version of the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Monday, July 8th. This is episode 250. We are 20 days away from the redemption race, Ironman Lake Placid. Lots going on here today. I got lots to talk about, some good, some bad. I do apologize for last Friday. I uploaded the podcast to the audio, the audio podcast. I uploaded, everything was smooth. I forgot to do the YouTube video. I came down here this morning. I was like, what? Like, where's the YouTube video? Didn't upload it. It didn't take. So that was my bad. I'm doing it again right now. It's almost done, actually. I should be up in a little while. But I apologize for that. Now, episode 250, I told you guys I was going to have like this big grandiose thing. We were going to celebrate it. Guys, I got to tell you, this has just been the wrong weekend to do episode 250. I didn't have any time over the weekend. I'm going to explain in just a minute. But I do have a big announcement. We'll do that about halfway through the show. First things first. Now, last week we talked about how Stephanie wasn't around. She went to Ecuador. And that was sort of an emergency situation. I kind of don't, I'm going to ask for a little discretion here. I don't like talking a lot about what these kinds of personal issues, I guess. But I was respecting Stephanie's privacy on Friday because I didn't really want it to get out. But now it's pretty much out. So Stephanie's father, unfortunately, he was a U.S. Marine stationed in Ecuador years ago, never left. He wound up living there. Stephanie was from there. That's where Stephanie's parents met. Stephanie's dad stayed there and lived there. And unfortunately, over the past weekend, he passed away. So she had heard that he was sick and had gone down there. She's still down there. She's coming back today. She's actually flying back tonight. She won't be until tomorrow. But, just kind of a tough time over the weekend. Now, my father was here. That was a planned event that he was coming up for the weekend anyway. And then Steph's mom wound up coming out because Stephanie was going to Ecuador. Her parents were divorced. So her mom decided that she would help me out with the baby instead of flying with her daughter to Ecuador. Daughters, I should say. Which was a great help. She actually left this morning and she did a lot and really kind of helped keep the house steady while Stephanie was gone. So, you kind of family pulls together in sort of stressful situations like this. And man, I have great in-laws, great family. I'm thankful for them. So, that being said, I do want to just, I struggle sometimes talking in public, social media, especially, about things like this, because I don't know. I get the sense sometimes when I read things from other people that when they post, they sometimes it's for themselves and not sort of for, sort of I guess a tribute to the person that it should be about. And I struggle with that because I don't want to be that way. I've never wanted to be that way. I don't want this to be like this is episode 250. I'm going to talk about my father-in-law. So if anything I want to say, I kind of want to say sort of in tribute to him. And for him, and not for popularity for the show or whatever. I'm not looking for. I know. I understand thoughts and prayers. I understand condolences. I get it. Just don't do it for the sake of doing it. If you're going to say it, mean it. That's all I say. That's all I want to say. That being said, I met my father-in-law. I only met once. He actually came to visit us last year. So this was after Stephanie and I got married. Stephanie was actually a month pregnant, maybe 2 months pregnant with Ellie, and we weren't even telling anyone. We never told him at the time. We were going out to restaurants, and Stephanie was throwing up in the bathroom, and he didn't put two and two together. But she wasn't drinking, and he was drinking like vodka like crazy. That man. Anyway, that's one thing I remember: the vodka. I had to buy a few bottles of that week. Anyway, so the things that I will take away, that I will remember, and things I will remember about, and lessons I will take away from my father-in-law. When I first met Stephanie, and we talked about her dad, who really wasn't around. He lived in Ecuador. Obviously, he didn't call that often. Didn't write emails or anything like that. there, I asked her, what did your father do? And, yeah, he was a Marine. He was a deep sea diver. And then after he left the Marines, he became a treasure hunter. Whoa. That's a weird one. Treasure hunter. I think of treasure hunter and I'm like, all right, like, when when you ask a kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? At a certain point, they start actually giving you real life vocations, let's say jobs. I want to be a policeman, a fireman, a baseball player, a teacher, a doctor, a veterinarian, whatever. At some point, they know like that because before then, it's like, I want to be a puppy. I want to be the tooth fairy. I want to be Santa's reindeer. Whatever it is, they have these jobs that aren't jobs. These visions of things that they want to do. I want to be an airplane, like things that you can't be an airplane. You're a person. You got And I feel like treasure hunter kind of toes the line between that reality job and that just sort of vague idea of a job. But he was a legit treasure hunter, and he found a Spanish galleon. Which when you say that, you always think, oh, it's got to be filled with gold. And it may have been, I don't even know. But unfortunately, the Spanish government claims all that stuff. So yeah, it's like they're storing their boats at the bottom of the Caribbean, right? And yeah, that was my boat. So give me all that stuff. And they have to give it back. He has some unique things, cannonballs and pottery and stuff like that from some of the things that he found. And Stephanie was looking through that this weekend. It was kind of really neat. And when I think of her father, my father-in-law, I will always remember him as sort of an adventurer, a guy that took life by the horns and did what he wanted to do. And to a certain degree, there's positives and negatives about that, but I don't even want to talk about the negatives. I don't want to talk about that today or really any other time. I think what I'll remember him for is just that adventurous spirit and just getting out there and doing what he wanted to do. And, he wanted to be a treasure hunter, and that's what he did. And he told some great stories that week he was here, let me tell you. He told some amazing stories. His friend had his arm bit off by a shark, and he had to save him. And he had to, he brought him to the top of the water from deep under the sea and had to bring him really quick, so he had to spend time in the oxygen tent or the oxygen capsule hours in there after he brought the guy and saved his life. Working underneath, hundreds of feet under the water on oil rigs in parts where you can't see in front of your face, where, you put your hand in front of your mask. He's like, you can't see it, but you have to do a job and you're there, basically working in the dark. Just some really neat stuff. And I think I'll always kind of remember that adventurous spirit. And I never really knew him when he was younger. When I knew him, he was definitely deteriorating, and he was always kind of, I remember he got sick and he came back out and he was talking about going diving again. And Stephanie was freaked out because he was getting frail. And all the guy wanted to do was go diving again. He did things his way. And, I know even at the end when he was a little stubborn and it was, you need to go to the doctor. Nah, he denied being sick. He denied, he basically said, he lived life on his own terms. That's all I'm saying. And I respect that to a certain degree. Not that I wish I could be like that, because certainly there's certain decisions you need to make. You have to weigh alternatives. And a certain degree, I don't really want to talk about this too much, but, you kind of, there's some regret. And I think that there was some regret in his life. He had pictures of us up in his house and stuff like that. And I think that if he did have some regret, it was that he lived his life and kind of ran on his own adventures, and it was at the expense of some of his family to a certain degree. And that was the negative. But he did what he wanted to do, and I'll remember him for that. It's something to be remembered by, and whether or not you espouse to think of that as a lofty trait, right? To be adventurous, to seek your path, no matter the cost. Obviously, you can respect certain parts of that or not. And in the end, I'll just remember him as an adventurous soul who got out there and did what he wanted to do. And that's that. And when I think of that, yeah, there's parallels to my own life. And I do like to kind of look at that and try to take a lesson or two or something like that. And, we talked about this a little bit last week. So unfortunately, there was a death too. We talked about on Friday, which was Jared Lorenzen. I talked personally about how leaving college and leaving athletics behind, that was my competitive outlet, that was my fitness outlet, and I lost those two things. And it took me a long time to get them back. And I got them back through running and triathlon over the last 5 years. And we've done 250 podcasts now about that, which is an amazing number. And, one of the things that I talked about a few weeks ago or months ago, a motivational speaker I watch, Eric Thomas, made this comment, and for some reason it stuck with me. And it's not even like a really great poetic thing. There's more context to it, but in general, what it was, he said, if you don't know where to serve, if you can't serve, observe until you're able to serve. And in the context was, I don't want to tell the whole story, but the context for me is this. I started running in late 2013, early 2014, ran my first marathon in New York, 2014. Started this podcast shortly after. Just sort of been developing and gaining this base of knowledge. Now, I end every podcast I do an interview at, I end it with, I'm no expert, I'm just ordinary. But I think that over the course of 250 podcasts discussing running and triathlon and all that stuff, I've sort of mistakenly become an expert. And I say that with all humility because I think the word expert is sometimes obnoxious, if not arrogant, if not obnoxious. Because everyone should be learning, and expert is kind of like such a defining term. Like I don't know. I don't necessarily think of myself as an expert because I always feel like I'm taking in knowledge and learning something new. And sometimes you learn something that you didn't know before, and you're like, well, if I was an expert, I would have known that. So it's a very, it's kind of like a weird thing for me to say because I like definition of words, proper definition, using them correctly. And too many people out there, I always use the example of Stephen A. Smith saying he's an expert in football, and then like saying the stupidest, most ignorant stuff that I've ever heard for a professional sports analyst making $10 million. Anyway, moving on. So 250 episodes. I've been observing, right? I've been observing. That's what I've been doing for 3 years. I didn't know. This podcast is in a way, I guess, serving. I'm trying to talk to you guys. I'm trying to grow it. I'm trying to build a community. I'm trying to do all this stuff. And we've done a lot of nice things over the years. We've done the Ordinary Marathon. We've raised money for charity. And I got to tell you, when I look at social networks and communities and running people and social media and all that stuff, I see a lot of them out there. I see some of them very popular, some of them not, but very few do very like tangible things. Tangible, it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of popularity contest. It's a lot of high school, right? Junior prom king, by the way. Anyway, I actually was very surprised when I won junior prom king. Let's not talk about that. But that's what I mean. It's like it's a popularity contest, and there's so many people out there just begging to be popular and like, and it makes me sick, especially when there's nothing tangible behind it or very little tangible behind it. I don't know. And I see it all the time. But I think what we built here and what I'm proud of, there's something tangible here. We have a group of people, a discussion group that are amazing people that are always supportive, that answer everyone's questions, that talk to people. I always talk about this group because they're an amazing bunch of people. Our charity virtual run is a lot of work. This podcast is a lot of work. The video is a lot of work. The videos we put out, the other videos we put out, the slideshows, all that stuff. It's all a lot of work. And it's all tangible work. It's not a popularity contest. It's work. It's, here's something. Here's something we made, and consume it or don't. put it out there for that. And I think that a lot of us get caught into these communities where it's just like a joke here, or the post there, arrogant there, la la la, whatever, with nothing tangible behind it. And I thought about that, right? If you don't know where to serve, observe. And we've observed. And now we're going to find out where we serve. Where are we going to serve? And I'm like, I saw it up at Mont Tremblant, and I thought, why don't we have a team? Why don't we have a team? Now I'm doing my coaching certification, and certainly that'll be part of it, or I would say an option, right? So ultimately what we'd say is like the athletes that we coach will be part of the team, but also the people in the discussion groups, the people that join the Ordinary Marathon and run it. There's no reason for them to not be a part of the team. And wouldn't it be great if there were events like the Marine Corps Marathon when all of us are getting together and we're all wearing the same shirts and we're all going out there? And granted, listen, you can join the team and you don't have to wear the shirt, but you could. And you see someone walk by wearing the shirt and it's like, oh, look, they're an Ordinary Marathoner too. And granted, look, if you've been very active in the group, there's a chance you might I might reach out to you in the next few days and ask you about it, because we're just going to be developing this concept over the next month or two. I'm going to get my coaching certification that'll be thrown in there. Again, listen, it's not like I'm going to be like, hey, $500 to join. No, it's not like that. And I never act like that. I'm never like that. This isn't a money sucking opportunity for me. This is a cohesive team building exercise. And I think ultimately it's going to be a wonderful addition to our community. There's one. And because one of the things I thought of over the weekend, we talked about the Jared Lorenzen thing, and I talked about my own personal, to go back to this for a second, and how I really think that there was 3 things that I lost when I graduated college, and I lost sports from my life, basically. And they don't offer counseling for this or anything like that. You're basically like, oh, that's it. You know that sport you're playing for the last 21 years? Yeah, or whatever. I was like 4 years old when I played my first T-ball. Like literally 4. Remember that? So you've been doing that for 18 years, playing baseball or playing football or playing some sport. I started football in 1st grade. All those years you've been playing that sport. Oh, guess what? Tomorrow it's gone. Gone. There's no saying goodbye. There's no honeymoon. And typically, if you're on a good team and there's like a playoff or something, you might have another game and then you lose a heartbreaker, and that's it for your career. Oh my God. How sad is that? You've been doing this all your life and it's gone. What do you lose? You lose all that stuff. And so the 3 things that I recognized when I thought about it, and the 2 I've talked about, one was the fitness level. It kept me busy, kept me held accountable in terms of being in shape. 2 was the competitiveness. What do I got to be competitive for anymore? There's nothing that, that gets the fire in your belly just, raging like sports. And then the 3rd, which I didn't mention, is the team concept and the camaraderie that comes along with being on a team. And I think for 2.5 years, I think I was looking at this like, yeah, we talk, and yeah, there's a group, and yeah, we're supportive, and yeah, we do this. But it's not really a team, because running's not really a team sport. Running is something that you do on your own, and you just kind of commiserate with everybody else, and you talk about things and learn things. But in the end, you're out there doing it on your own, and there's a certain benefit to that. But there's also teamwork to that. That's a team function. That's team camaraderie right there. Rooting for your teammate. Not wanting to let your teammate down. I mean, I want to finish Lake Placid in 20 days. And I do feel to a certain degree that a lot of the people that I talk to that have helped me, that have supported me, that I will let them down if I don't finish on the 28th. Right? There's team accountability. I can't tell you how many times I didn't want to go to practice when I was playing football, and I decided like, oh, I don't want to go today. Oh, geez, but my team, everyone else is going. What'll happen if I'm not there? Like, it just, it ruins, not that it ruins practice, whatever, but you lose that on-field dynamic of when everyone's there. That's why you practice, to practice for the game. You can't just leave. Otherwise, you have to lift in the off season. You have to work out. You have to do this. Why? Because you got to be your best. You have to be your best for you, not only for you, but also for your teammates. Because if you show up As football especially, if you show up and you don't do your job and you're not capable of doing your job, in football, someone gets hurt. It's not even like you lose a game. Like someone could get hurt. So I think that's just that third cog that I'm missing from when I graduated college. And now this may relate to you in other ways too. This story, this teamwork thing, there's support here. And I would also say that years after college for me, when I gained weight and I was weighing 280 pounds, and yeah, I had a gym membership, but I hadn't been there in 3 years. I hadn't gone swimming. I've been in a pool, but I never actually took a swim stroke in 5-10 years, whatever it was. I hadn't ridden about, me and my friend Joe, who's part of the group, Joe Caniano, that's another thing, is you meet these people that I haven't talked to him in years. My best friend growing up, hadn't talked to him in years. We moved away when I was like 13. I talked to him here and there, and Facebook arrives. All of a sudden, he sees me doing triathlon. He's doing triathlon. Hey, what happened here? Teamwork, right? That's team cohesiveness right there. My God, that's great. But I don't. What was my point? I don't even know where I lost my point. Anyway, here's the point. The point is that there's a support system here. Oh, I know what my point was. I gained so much weight. I hadn't done all this. I hadn't done all this stuff. I was big. I let it get away, and I found it by myself. I really did. I found the running. I found the marathon running, the practice. I was in such a mindset that I was able to kind of do that myself. When I sought out support or education, I did it online. I rarely talked to people. Once in a blue moon, I called up the American Cancer Society coach that I had. If I had some bad questions, like what's this chafing thing all about? All that stuff. I had questions. I asked some people, but I never really fell into that team dynamic. And looking back, it probably would have helped. It probably would have helped me. I'm talking about this leaving college thing. So here's an example of just people I'm talking to. People who right now are in college or in high school and they want to train and they've got their own sport. Maybe you're a baseball player and you're like, hey, I might go pro, I might not go pro, or I'm going to play in college, but that's probably going to be it. Well, what are you going to do with yourself after? Right? That was me. What are you going to do with yourself after? Because I'll tell you what, this sport, it invites everybody. It invites everybody. And you want to say something, here's an interesting dynamic. I never made the pros in baseball. I thought I might. It was my dream. Never happened. Never once played a minor league game. Never got paid to play baseball. But I never played on a professional baseball field or a minor league field for that matter. But I've ran the New York City Marathon on the course, the same exact course that you will watch on TV. I ran, Phoenix Marathon, Marine Corps Marathon, Arizona Marathon. Well, I didn't really run Arizona Marathon. Sorry. Phoenix Marathon. That didn't happen. I did Ironman Lake Placid. You see that? You see highlights from that on YouTube? Holy Christ. Same exact course that the pros do. How cool is that? You can do that. You can do that. Not only that, but it gives you something. It gives you a little nugget. So after college, after whenever, you have something. You're not left to just kind of flail around. Yesterday, you had a sport you loved and played and practiced every day. And then today it's gone. Take it. Another group is those people that are just out of college that have gone through this and are kind of like wondering, where's my place? What do I do? What can I train for? How do I keep myself busy? I can't go to the gym every day and the lift. It just drives me insane. I can't jump on a treadmill. It drives me insane. I can't do this. I can't do that. I need help. How do I find myself again? Here you go. Join the team. You could be older. You could be overweight. You can be, I hate to say you could be older and then talk about Glenn Eisenstein, 70 years old, first marathon, did his first marathon at 70, joined our group, loves our group, loved the camaraderie, met a whole bunch of great people. And really the whole reason that we do the Ordinary Marathon or the Ordinary Marathon for the SAM Fund is because it started with Glenn Eisenstein. All that great stuff. So any age, any situation, you could just be a triathlete or a marathoner, a runner, and you're out there and you're kind of like doing this on my own. I could use a little help. I could use a little camaraderie. Join the team. What's going to happen? You're going to be at a race. You're going to wear your race shirt one day, and all of a sudden, you're going to see someone else wearing that same shirt. You're going to have something to talk about. You're not going to be alone anymore. You're not going to be by yourself. You're going to be able to say, "Hey, how you doing? Look at my shirt. Or, look at your shirt. It's all great." Shirts go on sale for $300, by the way. But listen, honestly, we're setting this up right now. Stephanie and I are working on it. Clearly, I wouldn't even say right now because she's going to be back tomorrow. But this is what's foremost on our mind. We're going to be developed. It's going to be called Team Ordinary. We've got the logo in place. We got the website already locked up. I haven't put anything on it yet. So I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. This is just my announcement right now, and it is super exciting, and we are very excited about it. A lot of you guys are going to hear from me in the next few weeks because I want to hear what you guys think about it, and I want to hear how we can make this thing the best it can be. And I know a lot of you guys, especially you guys who are more active in the group, I want to know. I want to know what you think about it. I want to know, kind of like how we should structure this. Is there anything I should do or do right? What would be a good thing to do? What might be something that is overstepping my bounds? I think we can just develop this into a wonderful, great community, and we're taking that step now. So remember what I said. If you don't know how to serve, observe until you can serve. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing by launching Team Ordinary in the upcoming future. We look forward to it. I look forward to talking to all you guys about it. And remember, every day is an ordinary day until you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.